Hypocrisy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lawsplaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm, and actually criminal law firm in central Minnesota. I need to be very clear. I am not currently licensed to practice law. So any of you fucking retards who are here to get legal advice from a YouTube lawyer, consider a rope instead. God damn it. You have no idea the bullshit I have been dealing with. It is impossible to even begin to describe. Okay. Oh. Hey guys, how's it going? Hello chat, who I love. I'm sorry for the roboting. I don't know. My kids like whined to me that the internet was going slow, and I was like, maybe you should shovel more coal into the furnace. You should try harder, and they won't do it. They won't do it. I got a couple of housekeeping things. I'm not going to bore you with my entire life story or whatever. But I have an ongoing ethics complaint that I'm about to respond to because I'm required by law to do so. And they're like, he's holding himself out as an attorney in Minnesota. And the ethics people are like, are you telling people you're a licensed attorney? And I'm like, no, I'm not at all. But I realized, like, I do say Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. That's true, like licensed or not, like that's still a real thing. But I need to be very clear. Apparently, I actually tell everybody now. I called everybody in town. I was like, hey, just so you know, not currently licensed to practice law, just in case you're thinking about it. Just in case. The guy at the ethics board doesn't really know how to think. So when a random retard from Twitter messages him and he's like, he's representing himself as an attorney in Minnesota. Like, I haven't taken a client since 2020. It's like, are you representing yourself as an attorney in Minnesota? It's like, well, I am a lawyer. I am in Minnesota. I am from the law firm of Rekieta Law, but I'm not telling people I'm practicing or anything like that. In fact, I do the opposite. I say, go away, be gone, Satan, when people call me. I'm like, fuck off. I'm not doing legal work. That's been going on again. The last client I took was in 2020, and due to COVID, that case wrapped up in 2022. I haven't done any legal work since then. I don't intend to do any legal work at present. If I do, that's when I'll make sure I'm licensed first. But hey, so there's that. The other thing. Another thing, not the other thing, there's plenty. Another thing that's been going on, of course, I'm not allowed to talk about. I'm ordered by the judge to not discuss the details of my case, which the case in which there's a bogus and restraining order taken out against me that I'm fighting. I'm not allowed to discuss the details. I don't know if talking about the case's existence violates that order. The order is flatly insane. It was far overbroad. It's completely unconstitutional. But that being said, like, I don't really care. I don't want to talk about the case or anything like that. There's nothing to discuss. It's ongoing. And so until it's no longer ongoing, like, I'm under an order or whatever. And it's not really worth fighting that order. That being said, I won't be discussing any details of that case. However, I will say this, and we will do this. I am not allowed to discuss the details of that case, but I will be, and I have made it a policy to basically ignore that part of my life on my show here. Like I've talked about it elsewhere. But I will be implementing, I think in the next stream that I do, which is intended to be tonight, we'll be implementing a new policy where I'll basically be willing to talk about pretty much anything that isn't in the restraining order case, which I wasn't going to do, but now I will. Because it's just that fucking stupid. I missed you guys. Thank you to those who have reached out. I went through some personal stuff. I'm not going to get into that. Like that's just a thing that doesn't need to be in public. It's fine. It doesn't have anything to do with any legal issues or anything like that. And, or health issues. Like everything's fine, but it was a personal thing. And I just needed some time to deal with it. That's all dealt with and done. Today, we're covering something rather grand. This is the lawsuit of Stuttering John Melendez versus Carl from Who Are These Podcasts and this guy named Shuli of the Shuli Network. And we're going back to the roots of everything, because there's parallels to the LoLsuit here that are undeniable. And so we're going to talk about this thing, and we're going to do it old school, minus the whiskey. I can't really do that, but we're going to read the lawsuit. And we are going to just talk about it as we go. I'll talk about the legal, I guess, ramifications of what's going on, the legal implications of what's going on. And we'll have a good old fashioned lawsuit review, which we haven't done in a long time. And I don't know if we're going to get to it on this stream, but we'll revisit it and we'll be following this. So I don't think this is going to go on super long, but there's already a special motion to dismiss. This is taking place in New York. The special motion to dismiss is more popularly known as an anti-slap. And we'll be covering that as well. That motion has been filed. I don't think a response has been filed yet. My fucking headphones are stuck in my chair wheel. Hold on. Okay. So we're going to be covering the Stuttering John lawsuit, the main lawsuit tonight or today, right now. And then we'll be adding in more as we go. As they file stuff, we'll be monitoring the lawsuit. That's the basic gist of it. I'm so happy to be back. You guys have no idea. It's been it's been a long road. All right. I need to get one more thing pulled up here, but I would expect this stream to go on. I don't know if we're going to do like 3 hours right now. I do plan on doing a show tonight at 11, and we'll figure out those topics. I didn't want to do this topic at night because I know, this topic and this lawsuit has like a kind of a dedicated group of people who are interested in it. And let's see. I got to get logged into Super Tip. That's what we got to do here. Getting logged into Super Tips. Feel free to try those out. Have fun with them. We've added some voices today. We've got Carl from Who Are These Podcasts. We've got Shuli from the Shuli Network, and we've got Stuttering John. You guys are welcome to use those voices if you want, or don't. That's fine too. But my God. Yeah, I mean, I guess just a brief update on everything. Life persists on. I'm almost completed my community service. So I'll be done. I thought I was going to be done on Thursday, but I have to reschedule at least part of it for another reason, but that's fine. I'll be done either this week or next week. And then it's just a whole bunch of drug testing. And I say a whole bunch of maybe being drug tested for the next several years. So, but other than that, I'm done with all the terms of my probation. So, Sally Fourth or whatever. Community service was actually kind of fun. I didn't mind it at all. People were pretty cool. But I have happy to note I have put on 30 pounds since being arrested. 35, I think. 35 pounds since being arrested. So I'm back on my way to being a fatso, and it's good. I feel nice and healthy. Yeah, that's what we've got. Other than that, I don't have much to update you with. Life is life. But let me pull up this lawsuit, and we're just gonna jump right into it. It's not gonna take too long to go into this. Where the okay. Sorry. I should have had the document ready to go, but that's dumb. Why would I do that when I could not do that instead? I hope you all have been well. Oh my God. What are you doing? Just load the fucking document. This isn't hard. We've got a bunch of stuff coming down the pike. I've seen people say that Courtney Clenny's trial is set for December 1st. I'll have to circle back with Branca. The plan was that Branca and I would cover Courtney Clenny's murder trial. That is the OnlyFans killer who is accused of murdering her boyfriend with a knife. So that's funny. Hilarious. Dead guy. But yeah, so that'll be fun. If we end up doing that, I think that'll be great. Branca's great. There's another lawsuit that's been filed. I just have to make sure I can talk about it. I believe I can. By a friend of mine who's fighting for some injustice that occurred. And if we can, we'll cover that as well. Let me hit these first initial super chats, and then I've got this document pulled up, and we're gonna go for it. Heather Whitaker with a member chat says OnlyFans trial Courtney Clenny starts December 1st, 2025. That'll be. I can't wait. I'm so happy. that is happening finally. Blitzen says Ricada is back live and while I'm awake. That is true. Aaron Allums says, Nick, I need a toast. I got brought on full-time with Robert Barnes as a paralegal. I'm beyond excited to say the least. Let me here we go. I have this sparkling ice. This stuff's good. It's really good. Aaron Allums. Let's get this open. We'll do a little toast for you. Cheers and salutations to Aaron Allums acquiring a full-time job as a paralegal with the illustrious, the inimitable, and the unstoppable Robert Barnes. May the experience that you have bring you joy, education, entertainment, and of course, new prospects and broader horizons than you had before. What a great dude to be working with and for, and I wish you nothing but the best. Cheers. Hey, brokenhearted. Thank you. I really appreciate that. All right, we've got Ben Frail says, I thought you'd had a death in the family. No, like I said, I'm not going to get into it. It's highly personal, but just know that everybody's alive, everybody's okay. There's no legal issues or health issues or anything like that. It was just something that I needed a little time to take care of it. Snickers says, you have been missed. Glad to see you here. Thank you. Heather Whitaker gifted 5 memberships to everybody who gets one. Be appreciative, you unappreciative people. You should always appreciate things. Eric Ragnarsson says, fuck, I need to go to sleep, but great to see you alive again. Great to see you, Eric, as well. You don't need to sleep. That is for quitters and cowards. You need to be awake and alive. Speaking of awake and alive, what's up to my boy Camelot and my girl Nina in the chat? Love you guys. Thanks for showing up here and saying hi. Low Watermark says, what the fuck? They took your license. F them. They didn't take it. To be very clear on this, my license is temporarily suspended because of during my arrest in the kind of the fallout of that, I did not keep up with my continuing legal education. It's something that I'll be doing. I wanted to get this community service stuff finished up before the school year really got going. And so was focused on that. I'll be doing the continuing legal education catch up really soon here. I need 90 hours of time to sit and watch, people talk about various legal subjects. Because I have to do the previous session, and I might as well get the next session out of the way. So the idea would be I would do the 2 segments of 45 hours. So I'll probably end up doing that. Catch you later, MG Law. See you soon. That said, I'll be reacquiring my license, but I am temporarily suspended. I don't, like I said, I haven't practiced since 2022. I think it was early 2022. And I haven't solicited people to engage me in the practice of law or hire me or anything like that. It's just not been on my radar at all. I maintain my license because I worked hard for it. And that's the main reason. I don't need it for what I do. But that said, I am not licensed, and some dork on Twitter complained about it. They're like, he's advertising himself, which I'm not at all. But hey, the ethics office, they don't know. So you just have to explain it to them. Which I'll be doing, probably with lots of profanity. Thank you. It's Courtney 218. I appreciate that. Low Watermark says, well, that sounds better. Best of luck, Nick. Practice? We don't need no fucking practice. Smile. No, I don't need to practice law. I perfected it. Joe Moses says, finally, decent start time. I think I read that one just a second ago. We've also got over on Rumble, Lord of the Re says, hey, Nick, just wanted to say you were right about things getting better in your 30s. I know. I just turned 33 and I have a house, a beautiful lady, and I found out I'm going to be a dad. God bless y'all. Hey, you too, brother. I'm glad things are going well for you. Lord of the Re also says, I have a show this Saturday with Adam Krigler, Arlington Ale House just outside Chicago. Doors at 6 p.m. And y'all can hear my new song, Lampposts Exist, at Long Walks Music on the platforms. That's awesome. I really want to go to that show. I don't know if I can. I've got some things around the date. I'm trying. If I can, I will announce it. Adam did invite me to come out, and because it'd be cool to meet up. He and I've never met in person, right? And so we have to go touch thighs or whatever. But I'm trying to arrange myself to that show. I don't know if it's going to work out, but I'm trying. All right. But that's it, guys. Check out Long Walks Music on all the platforms. You can check out his song Lampposts Exist with Adam Krigler. Okay. Nina, touch thighs. Don't pretend that it's a traditional male greeting. You go up to each other and you expose your inner thigh, and he exposes his inner thigh, and you rub them together and hope some of your leg hair tangles. You know that this happens. Angel Australia gifting 5 memberships. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate that. Go to Turtle Boy at the Wilbur. What is that? I mean, I know what Turtle Boy is, but I don't know at the Wilbur. Like, I don't know what that is. Here we go. What's this?
Glad to see you back, Rackets. The world is a dull and boring place without you.
Well, thank you, Kaufman, disguised as Jeff. Glad to be back. Glad to see you guys as well. No, Haven King. I mentioned it at the start of the show. I'm not gonna get into it. Just know it wasn't a legal issue or a health issue. It was personal. Everything's good. Everybody's good. I needed a little time, but it's not something I want to discuss at all. All right, guys. Let's this is I read this the other day and I could not believe it. Like I could not believe that this was happening. It is so great. He's having an almost sold out show this Friday in Boston at Wilbur Theater. I'm driving 5 hours to go. How many people is that? Like, I don't know anything about the Wilbur Theater. What's a Turtle Boy live event like? I mean, the guy's funny and engaging, so I imagine it's great. Oh, I want to. There is a new Cooking with Kurt video that is recently dropped. It's an hour long and it's a breakfast shake. And I think at some point we have to watch that. I don't think we're going to watch it on this stream, but Cooking with Kurt is not going anywhere. It is here. It is here to stay. I cannot imagine. I don't know what breakfast shake takes an hour to make, but I need to find out. I have to know. And we have a bunch of other stuff. A Turtle Boy and Auntie Deb, huh? When is this? The Wilbur thing? Thousand people, him and Auntie Deb. That's crazy. Oh man, I want to go to that. This Friday. I can't get to Boston that fast. All right, guys. So here we go. Here we go. So this is John Melendez. I don't know if you guys know who John Melendez is. He's called Stuttering John. He's from the Howard Stern show. And I didn't really listen to or watch enough Howard Stern to really know much about it. But my understanding is that Stuttering John's job was to read insulting things to celebrities who were guests, and then those celebrities would just insult him, et cetera, et cetera. Very funny, good bit. But that was what he did. Worked for Howard Stern for a long time, but over recent years has fallen into some level of disarray and disrepair, we could say. And his life, it took some southward turns, and he has been followed by Carl from Who Are These Podcasts, who is frequently doing collaborations with my friend Dick Masterson. And I've met Carl a couple times. I've done a couple shows with him. always had a really good time with it. He's a gentleman and a scholar or whatever. Like, he's a good dude. He seems to be. I don't know if he isn't, it's someone else's fault. It's not mine. I tried to make him good. I tried, but he covers a bunch of podcasters and stuff for different shows. But one of the main ones he covers is John Melendez, and kind of there's this whole Dabbleverse, which is a bunch of failed comedians, all racing as fast as they fucking can to the bottom of life. And that's a whole area of YouTube. It's a whole like subgenre of YouTube. It's good. Like, there's a comedian genre, and then the subgenre of like bad comedians, and then the subgenre of the Dabbleverse. And it's all these like little tiny shows fighting each other for like who can get past 40 viewers, and it's weird. I don't get it. Like, I don't understand it. I'm like now kind of a part of it just because my life became a nice disaster on display for everybody. But that's just that's what it is. John Melendez is like the focus of the Dabbleverse, and where it started, I guess. Its genesis was looking at him and following him in his collapse. If I got that wrong, who fucking cares? There's like 10 of you. Nobody gives a shit. That said, Carl from Who Are These Podcasts, and this guy Shuli Eager, which is like the most Jewish. Like, I don't even. Every time I say his name, a menorah appears above my camera, like where I'm looking. But Carl and Shuli are two people who have covered John Melendez, and he is suing them. And we're going to find out why. It's related to their coverage. It's the best lawsuit, right? Like, the best lawsuits you can do is always someone made fun of me on the internet. I need to bring them to court now, because the best way to do this is to publicly engage the legal system, because my feelings got butt fucked in front of the entire world. It's the best plan. Everyone should do it. And so we're gonna, now we're gonna analyze what happened.
Listen, Nick, I want to be your paralegal. Do you need one? Because I'm down for it. Missed your face and our special time. John Vern, yay.
I don't need one right now. As stated, I am not currently licensed to practice law. I'm not doing so. But I would always consider and then deny anyone who wants to intern for the show here or whatever. Or if you have an idea of something to do together, like, that's romantic, I'm always open. Always open for that. So just send me a message or an email or whatever. If you actually want to. If you're just sending a chat, thank you very much. It's very appreciated.
I can't wait to see Kurt make a breakfast shake. I wonder what 5 pounds of meat he uses for it.
I can't figure out like how he's alive. Like, I don't even know like what parts they had to grab from other people to keep him walking. Here we go. We've got Not That Dina says, I started to watch you for the Kurt videos. Super fun, but I'd watch you either way. You make everything less suck. Wait, so you started watching this channel because of the Kurt videos? That makes me so happy. Let's see. 375 HH Shooter says, just wanted to thank you and the late Legal Vices for some input a while back. Helped a lot. Good to have you back. Oh, happy to have helped and honored to have done so with Jeff. Glad to hear things are working out well for you. Angel Australia sent a member chat, 33 months. Thank you so much. Just because I can. Yes, you can, but not for another month. Not That Dina says, there's more than 10 of us, Daddy. I know. Yes, there are. There are. I don't want to undersell it or oversell it, but it's a very niche corner of the internet. That's the point I'm trying to make. And And but it is committed. I mean, half of y'all at least should be committed, but it is committed. And the people who have not experienced Dabbleverse, you're in for a treat, I think. Shardy McDennis says, a certain AI is the new Duke and well earned. No, wait, a certain AI is the new Duke. What's that? Joe M sent in a super tip.
Thank you for introducing me to Cooking with Kurt. I went through some tough times lately.
Oh no.
But seeing what giving up on life and having all hope erased lit a fire under me. Welcome back, bud.
Thanks. What a ridiculous voice that was. Oh, I got a tip, just a tip from a friend, Tug, and he gave me a suggestion. I'm about to turn up my mic volume manually. So I'm going to talk normally. You may need to adjust your volume downward. This is about like playing videos and being able to talk while the video is playing. Tug gave me a suggestion to crank the volume on StreamYard up all the way and don't have the automatic adjustment. So I'm warning you now, I'm turning up the volume all the way, and well, hopefully that will work. We won't be testing it right now, but I'm going to start, acclimating people to that level of volume. But so now I've turned it up all the way. Hopefully you're not your ears aren't getting blown out or anything.
It took him an hour to make because he needed to get Monty and AA Ron's brother butter from the respective microbeans directly. Where else is he going to get the protein from?
I don't know. I don't know where he would get the protein. I think he misspelled protein, but I like it this way. Anna has only one passport, says, glad to see you back, Nick. You never fat shame me, but I took everyone personally and I am down 35 pounds. That's fantastic. I love to hear it. I took them all. I took them from you. That was an exchange that you and I had. I have eaten your 35 pounds. But I'm glad that it's gone from you. I'm glad that it's gone from you. Oh, hey, the super tips are crazy loud. Holy shit. I can fix that. I apologize. Whoops. Sorry. Okay, this should be better. I'm going to try one out. Prepare to have your ear holes violated. We're going to play this one more time.
It took him an hour to make because he needed to get Monty and AA Ron's brother butter from the respective microbeans directly. Where else is he going to get the protein from?
There we go. That should be better. I might turn it up just a little bit, somewhere between that. That should be good. Feel free to send those in all night and test them out. And we can always adjust the volume as much as you want. I did turn it up a little bit. We'll just play. Oh, here we go.
I don't think the first one went through, but long time no see, you beautiful knickers. Hope all is well.
Hey, what's up, man? All is well. All is calm and bright or whatever, round you and virgin or something. I don't know. It doesn't sound. It sounds like an interesting night, but I don't think it goes the way you think. Okay. It's Courtney's Fellowship of Oddballs says, who is Kurt? Oh boy. Kurt produces the greatest content online, period. There's no way. I don't want this AI assistant. I don't need your help. All right, guys, we're jumping into the subject now. This is John Melendez versus Carl Herberger, Shuli Agar, the Shuli Network, and Who Are These Podcasts? So we have 4 defendants. basically it's two defendants and their associated businesses. And then the plaintiff being John Melendez, Stuttering John from the Howard Stern Show. What is this?
Auf der Heide blüht ein kleines Blümelein und das heißt Erika. Eins von 100.000 kleinen Bienelein wird umschwärmt. Erika. One. Yes, I did misspell protein. Two. I wanted to see how well Super Tips gets Ronnie speaking German.
He nailed it. He nailed it. He's been working in prison. His German is exquisite. Okay. Here we go. Plaintiff John Melendez. If you don't know how I do this, if you've never seen me do this, this is how I started my channel. When possible and feasible, I will read every line of a lawsuit. This is 31 pages. I think we can do that just fine. It's not, the longest suit or whatever. We're going to read through every single bit of this lawsuit, and we will explain as we go what is happening, what is being sought, what the legal stuff is, and then my own personal assessment of it. Billdozer says, "You sneaky nose motherfucker. I had my damn locals notifications off. Thanks for doing a show. Praying for you." Hey, thanks, brother. Should be more shows coming, on a more regular schedule. I know I said that prior, and life has a way of fisting you in surprising ways. I think all fisting should be a surprise, but so things had a little pause, but we're getting back to it. And Neurodivergent says, "Good to see you live. I'll send Gouvea's crowd on Rumble your way." He's wrapping up. Thank you. I appreciate that very, very much. Jim tells you, says, "Sup, my nicka. I'm going live around 10 if you want to hop on or send a brother a redirect. If I can't get you in person, your essence will do." You're not the first. You won't be the last to experience the essence. Plaintiff John Melendez, by and through his counsel, Benedict Advisors, as and for its complaint against defendants Carl Herberger, Shally Egger, and the Shuli Network, and Who Are These Podcasts, which is known as WATP, and collectively with KHSH and TSN, the defendants alleges as follows. All right, so we've got a little stupid intro statement. Plaintiff John Melendez brings this action to stop and redress defendants' willful and unauthorized commercial exploitation of plaintiff's name, image, likeness, voice, and persona. Over the course of 2024 and 2025, defendants have repeatedly misappropriated Melendez's identity for profit through online broadcasts, ticketed live events, pay-per-views, and promotional content on YouTube and other platforms, all without plaintiff's consent. What's that? Do I smell a fucking moron? Oh, I do. I do. It's the lawyer that wrote this. I smell a fucking moron. New York has a law that explicitly lays out the right of publicity. And for some fucking reason, every lawyer who writes about it gets it wrong. And it's not hard. It's not hard. The right of publicity is not just name, image, and likeness. Shockingly, you can use people's name, image, and likeness all over the place. If you think you can't, look at the news, for example, or any comedy program or any late night talk show. Of course, you can use people's name, image, and likeness. You can do so in a commercial manner. What you cannot do is exploit their right of publicity. The right of publicity is the right to control your commercial endorsement of a product, a person, or a service. That does not mean that merely because something makes money that you cannot be used in coordination with that thing without your permission. That's not the right of publicity. Every lawyer in New York who thinks it is, neck yourself. You're so stupid. I can't fucking take it. The same thing happened in Maddox's lawsuit against Dick Masterson. They tried this. It's like, what? He put my face on a poster and said I'm retarded, and then he said people should watch a video about it. That's not the exploitation of your right of publicity. Your right of publicity is more like Lay's potato chips are great, says Stuttering John. He endorses and recommends the Lay's brand. Get laid when you can't otherwise do so, right? Have Lay's. That would be the exploitation of his right of publicity. He's being used to endorse a product without his consent. That means that his name, image, and likeness and reputation are being taken by someone else for commercial gain. Making fun of someone for commercial gain is not that. It's not that. It's never that. It is never, ever that. And all these lawyers do this all the time. They're like, oh, there's a right of publicity. It's a statute in New York. It's like, yeah, but read anything about it at all. You have to look at how the statute applies and what the right of publicity actually is. Let's see. Kiki Ray says, Rackets, did you know you are in blind items on Enti Lawyer? That means you made it. What is that? I have no idea what that is, but now I'm curious. Robert Gouveia has raided the stream. Woo! Welcome. Welcome. I think that's over on Rumble. Welcome to the Robert Gouveia viewers. You are about to experience a very strange lawsuit. Thank you for joining. Here we go. Plaintiff brings this action for violations of his statutory right of publicity under New York Civil Rights Laws, Section 50 and 51, as well as related claims under New York common law arising from defendant's deliberate misuse of his persona. And again, lawyers write this out this way with frequency. But just a basic pause and an assessment of, has anyone ever made fun of another person and made money from it? The way they write this, that would be unlawful. And it's not true. It runs up against the First Amendment. You have a right to call someone fucking dumb. You have a right to call them retarded. You have a right to say that they should, jump off a bridge or whatever. You have the right to do it. It may not be wise. It may not be the best choice, but you have a right to do these things. And you can, shockingly, put up a picture of them while you call them fucking stupid. Like, that is fine. That is okay. Anybody who tells you otherwise is lying. It is all about, the right of publicity is all about using someone to endorse a product without their consent for the endorsement of a product, like an ad. Just because they advance a product, a person, or a service does not mean you are exploiting their right of publicity. Again, you can advance a show, for example, if I was going to do a live production. And in that live production, I was going to pick a celebrity. I was going to do celebrity impressions. I was going to, go through the history of their life. I was going to make fun of them. And the entire selling point was maybe I'm really good at doing an impression of this celebrity, or maybe I'm like a scholar of this particular person's life. And so I'm going to really be able to offer a lot of insight into this person. That is not their right of publicity. None. I can make $10 trillion from it, right? And that is still not invoking their right of publicity and is not exploiting it. It would be an exploitation to advertise a product in their name without their consent. That's what it is. I don't know why they get this wrong. And I'm going to get hung up on this. I'm sorry. My brain will be on an autistic loop on this because it's got nostalgia for me. It feels like the first time, right? Like, because they're going right back to the Maddox lawsuit. And I hadn't read New York law before, but the moment I read it, this makes perfect sense. Like, it's like, oh, okay, that's what the right of publicity is. It's not anything else, literally nothing other than that. Once you understand that, and it'll infuriate you seeing people misuse this right. But they are going to, and they're going to do it a lot in this lawsuit. So I apologize for my autistic loop that will be happening. I'm gonna fucking lose my shit as we go. But again, going back to this paragraph 3 here, the defendant's deliberate misuse of his persona. Misusing a persona is not a thing. That's not real. Fuck off with it. It doesn't matter. You can misuse a persona because how do you even use a persona in a proper way is one weird question. But the misuse of a persona is not in and of itself exploitative or violative of any law, statute, or right. Common law, statutory law, or otherwise. It just isn't. You misuse personas all the time. Anytime you represent something about someone else that they disagree with, you've misused their persona in some way. That is not a crime. It is not a civil infraction. It is nothing. It's just bullshit. Between June 2024 and the present day, defendants engaged in a continuous scheme to monetize plaintiffs' fame and reputation. They did so by inter alia, which means among other things. That's your Latin lesson for the day. Broadcasting surreptitiously recorded audio of plaintiff on their online shows. Oh no. Incorporating plaintiff's name, likeness, and images in promotional materials and merchandise. No. Please no. And hosting paid events. No, not paid events. Explicitly marketed on the appeal of hearing and seeing plaintiff without his involvement or permission. Now, of course, this is to hear and see the plaintiff be mocked. To hear and see commentary about the plaintiff. Not to hear and see the plaintiff. They're not being sold on the idea that John Melendez is at the show and that they could see him without his permission. Like that, if you just go through the logical thought process of that sentence, you realize that it does not, like it can't possibly hold up. Marketed on the appeal of hearing and seeing plaintiff without his involvement or permission. Why the fuck are you going to have a live event that people pay money to go see, like at a venue where you're seeing someone who's not involved in it? Like are they in a coma? Like, what are they doing? Like, are they busy, like having a really long jerk off session? Like you just wheel their crusty recliner into the thing while they're not looking. Like, what is the concept that people think that this could happen? They're not thinking. That's the answer. Sorry, it was a trick question. Michigan Farm Boy, thank you for the super chat, says, if you started watching for the Kurt videos, there is so much back catalog of Racket streams to catch up on. Found you at Rittenhouse and went back to figure out what the closing song was talking about. Lots to dig into. There's a ton in the closing song. Tons of stuff, bunch of references from the show throughout the years. Okay. For example, these are always great, right? Defendants organized 2 pay-for-entry events, DabbleCon 2, that took place at a venue in Rochester, New York in mid-August 2024, and Dabble House in April 2025. The naming schemes are not creative, but they are straightforward and they're understandable. Dabble House is a pay-per-view event, which they advertised using plaintiff's identity, including his photograph and recognizable voice recordings. That's not someone's identity. A photograph and voice recordings are not someone's identity. And an identity isn't a tangible thing. Like, I mean, you can steal someone's identity by taking, you actually can't steal their identity by taking a tangible object. It can assist you in the stealing of an identity, but an identity is the soul of a person. It is the idea of someone. It is a non-tangible, conceptual sort of construct that we use. And an identity is who the person is, what the person is. It is not a physical part of them. It is not a physical thing that they can have and hold or whatever. It is very much a metaphysical concept. And that's why, like, using an identity inappropriately to steal someone's identity, for example, to like grab their social security number, create a fake identification, take out credit in their name, that type of thing is such an egregious violation, because it is something that is it's intrinsic to a person. It isn't an object you can give. I can't give someone else my identity. It doesn't work that way. I could give them some sort of access to it. Like I guess if I hand them a credit card or something, I'm like, here, you could go use this. But that's using my credit. Like that's using my access to the banking system. That's not my identity. My identity is something that is me quintessentially. And so therefore it is a violation to do so. And these an endorsement is an actual exploitation of the identity. We're going to get into that as we go. But just a photograph and recognizable voice recordings, that's not an identity. Those are just things. Those are just records of someone's behavior at a particular time, how they looked, how they sounded, what they said. Their identity isn't engaged in that. Like, you cannot use recognizable voice recordings to steal an identity. Now, before you quibble with me on that and say, well, with the use of AI, you could generate
basically the difference between right of publicity is the difference between, say, A8 Rackets recommends and promotes hedonism too, versus saying Rackets really enjoyed his time at hedonism do say. And a alwing hick eat.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's true. And I do recommend and promote it. Absolutely. Go there. Have fun. Have a good time. This is from Matt Fields.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Here we go, Ronnie. Buckle up. Nicola asked if I'm streaming again in 5 hours. The plan is currently to stream again at 11. We'll probably do some cooking with Kurt and some other topics that are on there, that are on the menu. There's a whole bunch out there. We'll fuck around, have a good time. L Flocking Lou says, great to see you. Catch up on replay. Gotta go parent. Go do that. It's way more important. Maybe. Go do that. Catch it on the replay and catch the next live that you can. Absolutely. All right. Actually stealing someone's identity or co-opting it or exploiting it is a real violation of someone's humanity. And so we don't want people to do that. You don't accomplish that with here's a photograph. Like, look at this photograph. No, that's not stealing someone's identity to have a picture of them. It never is. You can, again, an identity is a metaphysical thing and its use is as well. So having a picture of someone in theory, could utilize a picture as part of your scheme to utilize their identity. If you represent that your possession of the picture, like if they can't see you, you put up the picture or whatever, or you use AI to animate it in some way. If you represent that is the person in an attempt to fraudulently induce a behavior, that's the exploitation we're talking about. All right, so here we go. So they advertised using plaintiff's identity as the main attraction to draw audiences and sell tickets. And this is, of course, nonsense. It is absolute nonsense. The selling point of the Who Are These Podcasts show, right, is going to see the identity of who are these podcasts and the people associated with it, those identities doing what they do. That's the selling point of these live productions. It's not John Melendez. It's Carl talking about John Melendez. That's the selling point. You may think that that's dumb. Maybe you don't like Carl, or maybe you think he's boring. Maybe you like his stupid glasses piss you off, or like his dumb hair, or how he walks around with a big fucking smile on his face. He's always chipper, or maybe he's like autistic list making. Any of those things can, they can piss you off or whatever. But that is Carl. Like, whether you like it or not, that's him. Like the guy, just like you don't want to slap him, right? Like, just like, stop telling me what time I need to be at lunch. I got it. But that's still Carl, whether you like that or not. right? Like that's his identity. And that's the identity people are there to see. They want his opinions on John Melendez because John Melendez is this glittering object. And it's not a person, really. And if you look at John Melendez, you're like, no, that's not a person. That's a weirdo, right? Like a disgusting, hideous human being, who is not very entertaining, in my humble opinion, and clearly has some sort of mental issues that are not healthy, right? But he's not a person; he's an object. He's something to be, studied, mocked, ridiculed. That's what's going on. Nobody's going there because they're like, you know what? The soul of John Melendez is important to me. Anyway, back to this. In the lead up to these events, defendants aired numerous live stream programs on the Shuli Network YouTube channel featuring plaintiff's name and likeness, and even played clips of plaintiff's recorded voice, all while collecting paid super chat donations and other revenue from viewers, many of whom reside in New York State and New York City. And I just want to remind people at this point that we can do better. We can do better than that. You should not be collecting super chats while playing, John Melendez recorded voices, because these days you can use the super tip system at supertip.gg/RL, and you can actually say pretty much whatever you want in John Melendez's voice, and that's still not using his identity, not at all. But you can really play around with it if you want. But that being said, we should not be taking super tips or super chats. We should be taking super tips. Donations and other revenue from viewers, many of whom reside in New York State and New York City, which doesn't matter at all. We're going to get into the jurisdiction and venue, and it has nothing to do with where the super chat donators, like that, where they reside doesn't matter. They're not party to the suit. What is much more important is that, where Carl and Shuli are. We're going to cover that as we get to it. Defendants have gone so far as to exploit plaintiffs' personal property and memorabilia for commercial gain. Guys, have you ever heard of memorabilia or personal property being exploited for commercial gain? I've never heard of memorabilia of a celebrity being sold ever, or viewed or put into some sort of production or put on display. That's never happened in the history of humanity. Never. See, this is shit that gets so annoying. Like, just a basic read through of this. Whatever attorney wrote this, it should be drawn and quartered.
A sight for sore eyes. Good to see you.
Oh, hey. Good to see you, Double Trend. Dressed as Megan Fox, stealing her identity. Let's see. Here we go. This is I'm so happy. Stealing discarded items from plaintiff's trash, such as sofa cushions from his Los Angeles home, and displaying them as props at events to attract attention, demonstrating an extraordinary willful disregard of plaintiff's rights. I'm going to have a quiz. The winner of this quiz, you can, pleasure yourself or whatever you need to do. Cause I'm not there, so I can't deliver this. I can't deliver the reward to you. But if anybody can name which rights were willfully disregarded, I will give you permission to give yourself a hand job. Try and figure it out, I guess. The redneck hipster. It's good to see you back at it. I guess some black dads do come back after going out for milk and cigarettes. Sometimes it just takes a while. All right. Nicola, I'll have to check. I got their message. I have to check for that, but I'll get back to them. Lost Bullet says, my garbages sound familiar. Good to see you, pal. Yeah. Maddox did the same thing. I threw a bunch of stuff away and someone took it. Yeah. What do you think happens? What do you think happens to the garbage that you put out? You thought to be, do you think they destroy it on site? Like they do it, like they somehow obliterate the garbage at the fucking edge of your driveway? No, that's not what happens. You're discarding and abandoning the property. It's not yours. It's not yours anymore. Go away. Bad Melendez. No, put your stupid hands back in your pants. Lack of consent and warnings ignored, : At no point has plaintiff consented to defendant's use of his name, image, voice, or any other aspect of his persona. And we answer that with, who fucking cares? On the contrary, when plaintiff learned of defendant's plans and conduct, he took active steps to stop them. Oh, so what? In June 2024, through his counsel, which I don't know this is an allegation that I have not verified. I just find it funny. You guys should probably know. I believe plaintiff's counsel recently completed some sort of criminal thing for manslaughter. Like it, I think I have that right. That he manslaughtered someone. Ben Frail says, I don't think that's correct about the ownership of garbage you put out for collection. If you put garbage out for collection, it is abandoned property. That is what it is. You have not, you're not retaining a property interest in garbage that is out for collection. You have an expectation that someone that you contract with will come and retrieve that property from the edge of your driveway or whatever arrangement that you have. If it's up by your house, that's different. Once it goes to the edge of the driveway, that is pretty consistently regarded as abandoned property. Because what are you doing with it? I mean, again, you want it to go to the garbage company, I guess. But why? Like, why do you want it to go specifically to the garbage company who's retrieving it? That would be the question. That would be the thing that would make it not abandoned. But the garbage company doesn't care what you put in the, outside of some legal restrictions in some states. Like you can't throw away certain chemicals and stuff like that. But outside of those limitations, the garbage company indiscriminately picks up what you leave out. Like that's the agreement that you have with them. There's not an exchange of goods. There's not an agreement that you're going to give them a certain thing, right? Like what you put out there will just be taken away. The fact that it's taken away by someone who's not the garbage company, what do you care? That's a genuine question. What do you care? You might care. And if you do, I would highly suggest that you organize personally the transfer of that property to the place you want it to go. Like, for example, you take it to the dump or the landfill or whatever, or you facilitate the exchange of your garbages to the garbage company at the time. Like if you don't want it to sit out there and be, picked through, don't abandon it. Have more direct control over what you do. But that's inconvenient. Yes, it is. It's garbage. You don't give a shit about it. You can't put a couch out on the side of the road to be taken away and be like, well, I don't want that guy to take it. That's crazy. Okay. So arrange for it to be gone in a specific way. Make sure it happens the way you want it. If that's what you want, That's an exercising of property rights. Putting it out for a garbage company to collect is the abandonment of your property rights.
I'm a poon magnet, but I only bang the classy broads.
Aren't we all? I'm a poon magnet. Oh my God. So lack of consent in warnings ignored. Yes. At no point has plaintiff consented to defendants. No, wait. He took active steps to stop them. I read this. In June 2024, through his counsel, plaintiff sent multiple cease and desist letters to defendants Egger and Herberger, demanding that they cease their unlawful uses of his recorded voice and likeness. We have something to discuss in just a second. These letters also admonished defendants for making extortionate threats. Specifically, defendants had threatened to release embarrassing recorded conversations of plaintiff unless he acquiesced to their demands, including a demand that the plaintiff admit to crimes that he did not commit, which plaintiff's counsel noted was illegal and actionable. Cool. I guess this is the action for it. We'll see how it goes. Plaintiff additionally filed reports with law enforcement, including the FBI and Los Angeles Police Department. Hallmark of an idiot is, they're always like, I went to the police and the FBI. It's like, good for you. Did they give you a sucker? Like, what do you want from that? Like, you going somewhere doesn't mean anything, right? Like I can go report someone to the FBI right now and just be wrong about the crime, or I can not have sufficient evidence for them to develop the requisite cause to pursue an investigation or whatever. Like, anything can happen. Like, when I went to the government, and they didn't do anything. That's not a good sign. That people put these things in lawsuits all the time. It's like, well, they went to the government and they told the government what happened, and the government just didn't do anything. Like, well, that's not helping you. How are you going to establish that it's unlawful if the law enforcement agencies don't have anything to do with it? Then, to be clear and fair, just because there's no enforcement does not mean something is lawful. Like that, that's not how it works. I'm just saying it doesn't really help your case, and people put it in all the time. But here we go. So plaintiff additionally filed reports with law enforcement, including the FBI and Los Angeles Police Department, regarding the illegally recorded phone calls that defendants were exploiting. All right. We're not in federal court, so this doesn't matter as much, but the concept is still the same. When these complaints are drafted, you're supposed to the extent possible, avoid what's called conclusory language, where a legal conclusion is stated in the complaint. The complaint is not about stating legal conclusions. The complaint is about laying out the elements for the judge to draw a legal conclusion. If you just tell a judge a legal conclusion, that like, then what are we doing here if you have a legal conclusion? Now, of course, what it means is you don't have a legal conclusion. You have a statement that you really want to make. And the judge is supposed to effectively ignore any statement that's an illegal, a legal conclusion. These are called conclusory statements. Don't try to look it up in a dictionary. It's not in all of them. But this is one of those, right? So we've got their unlawful uses of his recorded voice and likeness. Well, what makes him unlawful? You've just said they're unlawful. Like, that doesn't make something actually unlawful. That's a conclusory statement. These are the statements that should be completely ignored by the judge as he, assesses any motion or does anything that the complaint is aiming to assist. Any of these legal conclusions are to be disregarded because they're not useful. They're not helpful. A set of facts that allow a judge to draw a legal conclusion that there's unlawful use of recordings or something like that. You lay out the facts, and then the judge applies the law to the facts, and that's when you get your legal conclusion. Just saying the conclusion doesn't make it so, but people do that. Booge McFadden says, Nick was gone 2 days. Figured he died like Trump. I was gone a lot longer than 2 days. I haven't streamed in like a month. Rosalind Duke, welcome to Paralegal Status. Very much appreciated. Matthew Rowley says, Nick, I am a lowly M&A attorney, so this is not my area. M&A being mergers and acquisitions. But Carl has used AI John's voice in ads for the mentioned events. Does that change things? I would say no, and we'll talk about that as I think that's in here. But we'll talk about that. AI is a little bit of a fuzzy area, but I'm going to confidently say, which this definitely screws Carl over forever. Like, I'm going to confidently say that the use of AI voices to promote your event where you're mocking the person who is the AI voice, for example, is not in any way exploitative of their identity. If the AI voice is used in such a way, it may be some sort of fraud, but that is between the person buying the ticket who's saying, I believed I was going to see John Melendez because I heard his voice on an ad that was generated. But the way, and let me pause for just a second. There are theoretical ways in which that could be an exploitation of someone's name, image, and likeness. And this is actually done long before AI. And we may end up talking about some of these cases as we go. But there was a case. I believe it actually did involve Lay's potato chips, which is why it was in my head. And there was a jazz singer, I believe. I can't remember his name. He had a very distinctive voice, and he refused to endorse Lay's potato chips. It must be an old Dutch guy. I don't know. But he didn't endorse Lay's potato chips. He didn't want his, his persona to be endorsing this product. So what they did was they hired someone to do an impression and a very, very close non-comedic imitation of him. That imitation was billed as his endorsement, even though it was not. It was someone else. And again, his voice is a distinct factor in this thing. That is where you get into the exploitation of someone. How you use someone's likeness or image or likeness or whatever to do this is similar. There's a case, Christiane Dior versus Onassis. That's Jackie Onassis, Jackie Kennedy. They put her on a billboard and endorsed one of their perfume products. She never consented to that. So they took a picture of Jackie Kennedy, they put it up there. Like the Johnny Depp one, right? Sauvage or whatever. And it's got a picture of Johnny Depp, and it's always very dramatic. Like, imagine the same thing with Jackie Kennedy, an ad campaign that implies that she's endorsing the product. But they just took her pictures and slapped them up on the billboard, and they didn't talk to her about it at all. Those are the things we're talking about here. So that's the main thing. AI complicates things a little bit because it has the ability to do a really good impression, but we've had people who are really good at impressions, and we've had these issues come before the courts before. Courts are dumb. Judges are always so far behind technology that sometimes they think like a virtual camera is recording. Like, for example, some people think that this means that you're recording something. This doesn't mean that at all. Like, that's just the virtual camera got turned off. And so now you see OBS and a no camera thing. Doesn't have anything to do with recording. That's completely separate. And people don't understand that. For example, and courts in particular are always behind on technology. They've been doing, no, we're not going to get into that, but they've been doing this for a while, and they still just can't. The core fundamental elements of what's going on with AI generated voices have existed for a really long time. The AI generation, the generative AI software that creates these voice profiles and then spits out a result when you put in an input. Those are tools that make someone good at impressions. Something we didn't really have before. Like, we didn't have a tool to improve your ability to do an impression, right? Like, your tools are your resource material that you're taking in. Like, you gotta learn mannerisms. You gotta learn how to inflect your voice right. You gotta do all that, right? And then the only tool you had really is your natural ability to do that with your voice, any practicing that you've done, any exercise and experience that you have in manipulating your voice, and then just the time that you put into developing your product. AI, as an impression generator, is merely a shortcut through that. And it's not the best shortcut, right? Like, some AI generated voices are pretty good. A lot of them have a feel to them where you're like, that's AI. It's not a real person. It doesn't come across right, even if it's good. But this is just a tool to allow someone to be good at an impression. We have lots of tools that have existed throughout the years to make people good at something. And, the different types of paintbrushes make an artist better at generating a painting. Either they make it more efficient, they have a particular brush stroke or something that is appealing to the artist. Those brushes aren't like, that's not making the art not real. Like, it's just a tool that's used by the creator. It's just happens to be a really good tool, and it produces a very specific product. And because it has a capacity to fool people, like they get nervous about it, I guess. But that doesn't make it anything beyond what it is. AI generative voices are merely a tool to produce a good impression. What you do with that impression is what matters. Again, it's not the tangible or quasi-tangible things. It's not a voice recording that is the soul or identity of a person. It's what you do with the voice recording. Like, you can take a voice recording of someone and you can use it in a way that is deceptive and create a scenario that didn't happen. And you can cause harm to someone, or you can induce a fraud, or whatever's going on there. That can be done. That can be done without AI. And people have done it really effectively without AI. All of these issues have already existed for decades and decades and decades. It's the concepts behind them. The fact that they may make people better at doing the thing, or open up, broaden the horizons of who has access to doing impressions now. That's one thing. How you use the impression, what you're doing, the actual act, that is where you run into the unlawful activity, potentially. Okay. Sorry, that was a long tangent. We'll keep going. Despite these clear warnings and demands, defendants ignored them and continued and even escalated their exploitation and unauthorized commercial use of plaintiff's identity. Defendants brazenly pressed on with the DabbleCon 2 event and related promotions, and thereafter continued to publicize plaintiff's persona for profit, willfully flouting plaintiff's rights. First of all, John Melendez bills himself as a celebrity, maybe like a D-lister or whatever, but he's a celebrity. He's from the Howard Stern show. He is a recognizable personality. So they're not publicizing the plaintiff's persona. The plaintiff is a public person already. But even if they were, you can publicize a persona for profit. The plaintiff doesn't have an exclusive right to profit generated from the use of his persona. The plaintiff has an exclusive right of publicity as laid out in the statute and its interpretations. Oh no, MLS is talking in the chat. I have to see what's going on. It says, I don't recognize him. Don't recognize who? Anyway, back to this. So here we've got injuries and relief sought. defendants' unauthorized uses of Melendez's persona have caused significant injury to plaintiff. Okay, well, this is interesting. How? They have usurped plaintiff's sole right to control the commercial use of his identity, inflicted okay, so again, you have a right to control your persona's endorsement of products, goods, services. You do not have a right to control other people's perception of your persona. You don't. If they think you're a fucking dummy, then you're a dummy to them. You don't get to police that with the courts. That's not how it works. One, that runs up against their First Amendment rights. Two, it's just not something the courts have any ability to control or fix. MLS says the stuttering guy. I don't recognize him. Also, I'm not saying anything at all important. Well, I mean, but that's normal. I just didn't know who you didn't recognize. So Stuttering John, got it. Yeah, I don't know. The people who do recognize him are a dying breed. Like the Howard Stern listeners, are aging out of the program. The program being life. JJ sent a gifted membership. Thank you so much, JJ. That was received by Zap Rosedauer. Rousdower. There you go. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. All right, so here we go. Back to this. So they have usurped plaintiff's sole right to control the commercial use of his identity, inflicted emotional distress and humiliation by subjecting him to public ridicule for profit. That's okay. You can do this. And deprived him of the ability to monetize his own name and likeness, which they have not done so. Not in any way. Defendants have unjustly enriched themselves, is one of those conclusory statements, by trading on plaintiff's reputation and fame, pocketing money from event ticket sales, online super chat donations, and related merchandise, all at plaintiff's expense. And I would like to announce publicly right now that I'm doing the exact same thing. And I would very much love to exploit John Melendez's fading celebrity for my personal financial gain. I want to do that. That's the purpose of me doing this, is to make fun of an old man who's bitter and silly. And I want to exploit his likeness or whatever for my gain. That's what I want to do. I want to make fun of him and trash his reputation in the process. BobTube says, good luck with your hearing tomorrow. Do you have any licenses left? Legal gun car? Actually, yes. My car license is intact. So, I haven't had a permit to carry or purchase for a long time. When I stopped carrying, I stopped renewing that. I have a temporary, it's weird how this works. I have a temporary suspension of my access to firearms because as part of my probation, but I'm not convicted of the crime. I will, assuming things go as planned, I will never be convicted. The charges will be dismissed at the end of my probationary period. And then my gun rights don't need to be restored because they're not gone. I still have my gun rights. My use of those rights is currently restricted by contract between me and the government. We have an agreement that keeps me out of prison. So anyway, all right, back to this. Here we go. See, and this is so silly. Trading on plaintiff's reputation and fame, pocketing money from event ticket sales. These events are not honoring John Melendez. John Melendez would not be putting on these events to make fun of himself like that. I mean, I guess he could, but presumably that's not what he would be doing. He wouldn't be doing this event. It doesn't compute. The event is Carl and Shuli. It is the host. The host is the one that people are paying to see. Any sort of guests and stuff like that, they're accessories to the host, right? And then the host contracts with them for some sort of agreed amount to do those things. All that's done, but it's the host who's investing in the event and throwing the event. It's them. That's who you're going to see. Now, again, there are ways in which this can become unlawful. If it is a fraudulently presented event, if they advertise that John Melendez is going to be there, right? And people are expected to reasonably believe that advertisement is legitimate, then that's different. But the advertisement is that we're going to be in a room making fun of John Melendez. John Melendez doesn't have a right to that. Like, he doesn't own that exclusive right. That's not his. Plaintiff therefore seeks a permanent injunction to stop defendants from any further use of his name, image, likeness, voice, or persona without consent. Plaintiff also seeks monetary relief, including compensatory damages of no less than $300,000 to compensate for his injuries and defendants' profits derived from the misappropriation, and exemplary punitive damages of $300,000 to punish and deter defendants' knowing egregious conduct. Plaintiff further seeks reasonable attorney fees, costs, and any other relief the court deems just and proper. Now, again, I'm quite confident that Carl and Shuli will emerge victorious in this action. But in the event that they didn't, the most dangerous thing on that menu is the reasonable attorney's fees, which, were this case to go to trial, would likely far exceed $300,000, and potentially, exceeding the $600,000 that combined between those two. These types of cases get very expensive. There's a lot of information. This is a pseudo celebrity. There's a lot of material around John Melendez that Carl and Shuli have produced, but also that John Melendez has produced, the Howard Stern show has produced. Like, all of there's a bunch about this guy that exists. There's tons of video and audio about him. So those attorney's fees can rack up real fast. So now we're onto the parties section. That was the preliminary statement in which they laid out a basic framework of the case and what they're going to bitch about in the actual section of the facts, and then the application of law that they're asking for. That's coming, but that was kind of the preview, and then we'll get into the details, and that's where a lot of the real juicy bits are in there. Bob Tube says, this doc stinks, something Frank White would write. So here we go. Parties. John Melendez is an individual residing in Florida. Melendez is a nationally known comedian and media personality. Immediately, bad choice. Like, I know they're trying to leverage the commercial nature of the persona, right? Like, this is a celebrity. This person monetizes himself, right? Like, all the time. So, he's a nationally known comedian and media personality. But at the same time, like, your argument is that they're exploiting the fame that he's unable to exploit, but he's able to exploit it. He's laying out how the exploitation, his self-exploitation works. He's laying it out right at the start. Ooh, what is this? From Koof, thank you for not killing yourself. FSJ, if you haven't already, I'd recommend checking out Lucy Tightbox's coverage at Once Over with Kaylee on YouTube. And I had the pleasure of meeting Lucy Tightbox, the best named person on the internet, at Hackamania earlier this summer, and she was very, very kind, and she seems like a pretty cool person. I didn't get to talk to her too much or anything, but I got to meet her. That was fun. I don't mean anything by this. Like, I didn't know who she was at all. Like, and they're like, "Oh, that's Lucy," and I'm like, Lucy? And they're like, Lucy Tightbox. I'm like, oh, that's funny. I immediately want to meet this person now. But she was very kind. So she's cool. So yeah, definitely go check out their coverage on this as well. So here we go. Back to this. He's a nationally known comedian and media personality, famously known by the moniker Stuttering John, from his years on the Howard Stern Show, as well as for being an announcer on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno and other entertainment ventures. Mr. Melendez has cultivated a distinctive persona, and his name, voice, and likeness possess significant commercial value. At all relevant times, Melendez did not authorize defendants to use his identity for any purpose. All right. And again, this is where the whole lawsuit is shooting someone in the foot, right? A hot dog is not a sandwich. No, a hot dog is a taco. Please. We're busy here. We're busy. We need to stop this. The whole lawsuit is shooting Melendez. It's him shooting himself in the foot. But in particular, again, his likeness, name, voice, yeah, they possess significant commercial value. That's not what they're exploiting. They're not exploiting the carefully cultivated, distinct persona of John Melendez. They're actually doing the opposite. They're laying bare the real behind the scenes. I don't want to, like, for example, substance using, maybe abusive or like verbally abusive. I'm not accusing him of anything. I don't really know much at all, but they've been watching this man's life collapse, and it has. Like I've seen pictures of him. You know, like Khalid Sheikh Mohammed after he got waterboarded. That's how John Melendez looks every day. Like every day, he looks like he was waterboarded by the CIA for breakfast. It's like, this guy's a disaster. That's the person they're talking about. They're not talking about the carefully cultivated public persona of John Melendez that shows up as an announcer on the Tonight Show or shows up on the Howard Stern Show. That's not him. They're talking about the guy with the crusty couch cushions, right? Like that's who they're after. So these are self-defeating, this identification. And this is an error I think that's made pretty frequently by higher profile people in their lawsuits. They're very eager to explain their accomplishments and who they are and why the court should pay attention to them. And that tends to involve them, like, speaking too much. And yeah, it just doesn't work out for them, I think. What do we got? Okay, here we go. Back to this. Upon information and belief, defendant Carl Heberger is an individual residing in the state of New York. Heberger is a content creator and event promoter who has worked in concert with defendant Egger to produce online shows and live events under the banner of Who Are These Podcasts and the Shuli Network. Heberger played a pivotal role in planning and hosting the events and broadcasts at issue. That sounds like Carl, including DabbleCon 2 and Dabble House. He directly participated in the unauthorized use of plaintiff's name, likeness, and voice during those events and promotions. So again, this is one of those sentences that they need to just throw out. Like, this doesn't mean anything. They need to put this in the fact section. Heberger has openly been the face of Who Are These Podcasts that profited from exploiting plaintiff's persona. Upon information and belief, defendant Shuli Egger. Shuli is an individual residing in the state of Alabama. Egger is a comedian and online broadcaster and the owner and operator of the YouTube-based media platform or trade name known as the Shuli Network. Egger formerly worked in New York as a radio personality and has a nationwide following. A nationwide following. That's 50 people. I'm not actually dumping on Shuli Network. I don't know how big his channel is or anything like that, but like it's always like dramatic language. He has a nationwide following. Okay, how many subscribers? 6,500. Like, oh, I see. Nationwide following. In the events described herein, Egger served as a host and organizer frequently on camera and was primarily responsible for broadcasting plaintiffs' recorded voice and image on the Shuli Network programs. Egger and Herberger acted in close concert to execute the schemes alleged, and Egger has openly been the face of the Shuli Network that profited from exploiting plaintiffs' persona. Defendant, the Shuli Network is on information and belief, an entity or alter ego through which Egger, with Herberger's assistance, carries out his online content business. TSN is believed to be an unincorporated association doing business as or similarly structured enterprise, possibly just an unregistered trade name owned by sole proprietor Mr. Egger. So basically a pass-through entity of some sort. With his principal place of business likely in Alabama, but along with Mr. Herberger and Mr. Egger earning revenue from viewers or ticket buyers in New York State and New York City. The defendants, including TSN, operate monetized YouTube channels and related social media accounts that publish shows, streams, and advertisements throughout 2024 and 2025. TSN was a vehicle by which Egger and Herberger monetized the unauthorized uses of Melendez's name, likeness, and voice. TSN is thus named as a defendant to ensure full relief can be granted, including injunctive relief against the ongoing operations that misuse plaintiff's persona. And if it's not an LLC, if it's just some sort of pass-through entity or doing business as thing, like this isn't necessary. But if you want to throw in the entity just in case it's an actual entity, and you don't know until you get to discovery. Defendant, who are these podcasts, is on information and belief, an entity or alter ego through which Herberger, with Egger's assistance, carries out his online content business. Excuse me. Who are these podcasts is believed to be an unincorporated association, DBA, doing business as, or similarly structured enterprise, possibly just an unregistered trade name owned by sole proprietor Mr. Herberger, with his principal place of business likely in Rochester, New York, or Alabama, but along with Mr. Herberger and Mr. Egger earning revenue from viewers or ticket buyers in New York State and New York City. The defendants, including who are these podcasts, operate monetized YouTube channels and related social media accounts that publish shows, streams, and advertisements throughout 2024 and 2025. Who are these podcasts was a vehicle by which Egger and Herberger monetized the unauthorized uses of Melendez's name, likeness, and voice. Who are these podcasts is thus named as a defendant to ensure full relief. Blah, blah, blah. Collective allegations. At all relevant times, each defendant acted individually and in concert with the others. With respect to the acts complained of, defendants Egger and Herberger directly managed and controlled TSN's and who are these podcasts content and events. All defendants shared in the profits derived from the wrongful conduct. Accordingly, defendants are jointly and severally liable for the torts and statutory violations described below. If the court agrees with them, being jointly and severally liable means that each of them are liable for 100% of any relief that is provided. Like if one is unable to pay, the other is expected to pay the full amount. That's the idea. You tend to want to do this when there is a protective entity involved, like an LLC or something like that, to ensure that, maybe the LLC is only responsible for a tiny amount and the individual would be responsible for more, but the LLC shields them from liability, some silly scheme. And so then, it reduces the amount that you're actually able to recover because you're going to say, okay, well, the LLC or whatever, that's responsible for $1,000 damage. But Carl, because of his stupid fucking glasses, Carl is responsible for $50,000. And if Carl can't pay the 50 grand, you only get the 1,000 from who are these podcasts. So if he's got things structured or whatever, if they're jointly and severally liable, all of them are liable for the $50,000 until it's paid. Like that's just how it goes. So that's the benefit and the goal of what's going on there. Jurisdiction and venue. So now we got to find out if New York's the right place. This court has subject matter jurisdiction over this action. Plaintiff's claims arise under New York state law, including the New York Civil Rights Law, Section 50 and 51, the right of privacy publicity statute, and New York common law. Plaintiff seeks damages above the jurisdictional minimum of all lower courts, including a demand of $600,000 total damages, exclusive of interest, costs, reasonable attorney's fees, etc. Therefore, the Supreme Court of the state of New York has jurisdiction to adjudicate these claims and grant the relief requested. This is important because New York has a kind of like, from Minnesota, it's a confusingly structured court system. And, the density of population in a place like New York means that they have some pretty specific courts at the state level that handle certain claims. Like there's a business court, for example, where claims over $500,000 within New York City limits would go to this business division, right? And like if assuming there was any sort of commercial activity involved in the claim, it would be eligible then for the business division. And so you want to make sure that whatever court they're in, I don't remember which one they signed up for. It doesn't really matter as for the claims. Like the application of law is the same. Some courts just specialize in certain claims, and it makes for judicial economy or better use of the judicial economy or whatever. But you just have to make sure that you're within the rules, and they're alleging that they are. I'll take them at their word. There's no reason to believe otherwise. To be clear, as long as you reasonably assert your damages of $600,000, there's no reason to believe that that's not a reasonable assertion. Even if in reality, he would maybe only be entitled to, if he won like $5,000 or $10,000 or something, that doesn't matter. The question is, are they reasonably asserting a claim of $600,000? They can be wrong. The question is, are they knowingly wrong, right? Are they unreasonable in their expectation or demand? But if you take everything that they say at their word, and then you say, like, somehow say, yeah, that is illegal, and I guess this much damage is what they're asserting. But that doesn't mean that they'll get it. This is all about jurisdiction. The court has personal jurisdiction over each of the defendants, and this is important, especially in regards to Shuli, and I believe the Shuli Network. These are not New York, right? Shuli's in Alabama. Shuli Network may be incorporated in New York. They didn't really say where they were. And it's kind of silly that they don't have any information about it, but sometimes you don't get information. They have to explain why New York can haul these people in there. Simple answer. They've done the shows that are the object of the lawsuit in New York City. They've performed live events in New York City. And because, those live events are then expecting the protection of the state of New York, they're subject also to its jurisdiction, I hope that helps. It has personal jurisdiction over each of the defendants under New York's long-arm statute. Defendants committed tortious acts within the state of New York and directed toward New York, which give rise to the claims herein. Again, if you're not in the state, if you haven't done something to invoke the state's protection or legal system, then the state probably doesn't have jurisdiction over you. And just because your activity might reach a state does not give that state authority over you either. You have to direct the activity there. People get this wrong quite often in regards to YouTube or radio broadcasts because they happen and they go out and they can be consumed by people pretty much anywhere. But when you start taking actions that direct the flow to a particular place, like hosting a live event, for example, in New York, now we're saying, well, we want New York to enforce any of the contracts and stuff like that happen at this live event. Well, then you're subject to the jurisdiction at that point. Okay, so that's about being directed towards New York, et cetera. In particular, defendants organized, promoted, and carried out DabbleCon 2 event in Rochester, New York in mid-August 2024, where plaintiff's likeness and voice were exploited before paying New York audience and via pay-per-view. Defendants also regularly transmit and broadcast infringing content into New York via the internet. This is not sufficient on its own, but it doesn't matter because the first one is. Solicit donations and sell event tickets to New York residents. Again, not relevant unless they're specifically targeting New York residents, but they're already in with the event. And otherwise transact business in New York through their media operations. The injuries to plaintiffs' rights have occurred in substantial part in New York, where defendants' unauthorized commercial use of his persona has been exhibited and monetized. Upon information and belief, defendant Herberger is a resident of New York State, and defendant Egger is conducted significant business in New York, including the acts at issue. Additionally, upon information and belief, one or more of the defendants process payments or receive money for the conduct at issue here through one or more New York State-based merchant banking accounts. By these accounts, contracts By these contacts and actions, each defendant has purposefully availed himself or itself of the laws of New York and should reasonably anticipate being hauled into court. Hailed into court, but hauled into court, into a New York court to answer for the conduct alleged. Venue is proper in New York City, pursuant to CPLR 503A. Plaintiff designates New York County as the place of the trial. Plaintiff is not a New York resident, although defendant Carl Heberger resides in New York State, Monroe County. CPLR Section 503A permits laying venue in a county where a substantial part of the events or omissions giving rise to the claim occurred. Plaintiff has accordingly chosen New York County because a substantial portion of the events and harms giving rise to the claims occurred in this county in the greater New York City area. TSN's content was widely published and viewable in the New York County, and the commercial impact of defendants' misconduct is felt in this county where plaintiff's professional reputation and business opportunities in the entertainment industry centered in New York City have been harmed. The venue in New York County will also serve the convenience of witnesses and the ends of justice. Okay, that was the boring stuff. Now we're going to get into the story. And the story is the factual allegations and then the application of law. But before we do that, I'm going to run to the bathroom. I'll be right back. And let me play a little song while I'm gone. And then we'll keep going, just a second. See you guys in just a moment.
He drank a fair bit and then realized that his bladder can't handle the liquor inside, leaving us with his chair while he runs up the stairs, hoping the stream doesn't suddenly die. While we are waiting, we'll be laughing at you. The drinking along is what most of us do. The chat is united, getting excited. What you have for us when your being is through. When you have a small bladder and no sphincter control, freedom of liquor doesn't mean freedom from soaking your drawers. Now you're washing your hands and you realize that you've forgotten to scrub both the front and the back. Then you'll grab a quick bite, kiss your lady goodnight, and remember to thank her for all of the snacks. Whoa, water will cure your hangover. Oh, so drink some when the stream is over. When you have small bladder and no sphincter control, freedom of liquor doesn't mean freedom from soaking your drawers. Soaking your drawers.
All right, guys, we are back. Thank you for entertaining my bladder or whatever. Okay, here we go. So we're into the factual allegations section. I know it's been a slog through the beginning, but I had a policy ever since starting the channel that when possible, I would try and go through line by line, because there really is things get to this place in the practice of law where things become rote, right? Like the pro forma. My friend Ty Beard would say, well, it's just pro forma requirement. And they are. You just have to do it. But there's a reason behind all of it, and not everybody knows those reasons. So I try and go through and lay out those reasons and explain the legal purpose behind them, and explain any confusing language or terms of art that may be in there. get a song about a pooping lawyer, it'll just be a recording of me pooping. Plaintiff John Melendez. Oh, but damn it. We are going to now go into the factual allegations section, which is not pro forma. This is the narrative. This is the story. This is what you need to know. You need to know John's pain and suffering as a fat, dumb man whose life is in shambles. And I say this as someone who has spent significant time with his life in shambles, right? Like, I'm speaking from a place of experience and authority on this one. But that being said, this is where John's going to tell you what has hurt him, which is also his weaknesses. Plaintiff John Melendez is a well-known figure in comedy and broadcasting. I mean, I guess, with a distinctive voice and persona that he has cultivated over decades. By virtue of his public career, Melendez's name and likeness carry significant fame and goodwill among audiences. You're gonna hear some repeating of the earlier stuff, but it's gonna be more fleshed out, robust. Defendants are not as well-known commentators and content producers. I love that. They're not as well-known as me. They're not. Nope. I'm better. Operating in the same realm of entertainment. No, they're not. Like, not even close. And have frequently targeted Melendez as subject of discussion on their shows. Who Are These Podcasts is not in the same realm of entertainment as the Howard Stern Show or the Tonight Show with Jay Leno, which are the examples that was given by Melendez. Not, and I'm not even talking about scope or scale or, popularity. I'm talking about subject matter, execution, genre. Like, these are different things. The only similarity is that there is a comedic element and it is broadcast in some way. But outside of that, the similarities are completely absent. Okay. Let's see. Realizing that Melendez's mere presence, even unauthorized, that's not a thing. How is he having an unauthorized presence? He's not there. I want to point this out. This happens several times in the document, and this will be a place that I haven't read the anti-slap, but it's likely a target of the anti-slap. It says his mere presence, even unauthorized. How do you, like, an unauthorized presence is a kidnapping, right? Like, you've been renditioned to a different place. Like, that is not what's going on here. John Melendez is not showing up at these events. He's not advertised as being physically there. This isn't a thing. And it's a little dishonest to the court. So let's see, even unauthorized, in some cases, falsely implying to casual viewers' participation. That sentence is so garbage, I want to hoard it. Drew substantial audience attention. Defendants seized upon an illicit opportunity to generate content and revenue by incorporating Melendez into their programming without ever seeking or obtaining his permission. You don't need permission to talk about someone. You really don't. Like, it's so plainly fucking apparent in America that you do not need anyone's permission to talk about them. You don't. And the people who seek to prevent that from happening, like, I don't know. I don't know what to say, man. Like, it's just, there are certain things you can't say about people. That is true. There are certain things that are harassment, for example. You cannot threaten someone. You cannot depict someone in a false light, where you take facts that occurred but utilize those facts to paint an image that's false. You cannot defame someone. Like, these things, these are real, but these are all very specific and very limited legal fictions that help guide the idea that you cannot harm, like, that, or that your communication has the ability to impact someone's rights, and you don't have the right to do that. When your two rights collide, you don't get to just annihilate someone's reputation with a falsehood, for example. But you do get to talk about people. That's okay. It's not allowing someone to talk about someone else without some specific reason is an infringement on their First Amendment rights, period. Okay. Let's see. As detailed below, defendants obtained, this is one of those conclusory statements that you need to be very wary of, obtained illegally recorded private phone calls of Melendez. This is not true. I just want to point that out. They systematically used those recordings along with Melendez's image and other personal material as a centerpiece of their commercial ventures from mid-2024 onward. Defendants' actions were not isolated incidents. They formed part of a deliberate ongoing effort to capitalize on Melendez's celebrity at the expense of his legal rights. And you can tell right here, again, they're talking about capitalizing on Melendez's celebrity, his right of publicity. But we're talking about using quote unquote illegally recorded private phone calls. That's not Melendez's celebrity or capitalizing on it at all. It is capitalizing on something beyond the celebrity, something at the core of a person. What happens behind the curtains? Upon information and belief, this illicit use of plaintiff's unauthorized image, likeness, or AI modified voice became an important part of defendant's business, possibly bringing in a material percentage of their gross revenue for 2024 to present day. I would think so. Some material percentage. I mean, what's a material percent? Yes. Even if it's a penny, man, of course. In or around June of 2024, defendant Shuli procured confidential telephone conversations of plaintiff through unlawful means. That's a legal conclusion. Saying that he did it unlawfully. You have to show us the unlawful, like you have to show us the facts that lead us to the conclusion that it is unlawful. Not tell us it's unlawful. Show, don't tell. Be a good writer. You have to explain to us what happened. And then again, the unlawfulness will come as a legal conclusion or a finding of the court. Upon information and belief, Egger enlisted a third party, Kate Meany, who is an acquaintance of plaintiff, to record her private calls with plaintiff surreptitiously. Recording phone calls is a very, very complicated subject that is fact specific. And we're going to talk about that here. But they've accused him of enlisting Kate Meany to illegally record phone calls. Here's the crazy thing. You can record things that are private surreptitiously. You can enlist people to do that. Some states have a two-party consent that would require the consent of the other person on the conversation. Not all states do. That's why it becomes fact specific. If you acquire recordings of private phone calls, even surreptitiously recorded ones, it may not have been illegally obtained. And importantly, a long-standing feature of American broadcast is that if you did not induce or participate knowingly in the illegal activity, but merely procured the results of illegal activity that was wholly done by someone else, you can broadcast those. Those are not protected. Again, the First Amendment is really strong. These calls took place while plaintiff was in California, a state that requires the consent of all parties to record a phone call. The fact that a lawyer wrote that down, what he needs to do is put his left hand on the table and smash it with a hammer that he holds in his right hand, because that was fucking stupid. Where the recording takes place, that's the state law that applies to the rule of consent, whether it's single party consent or two party consent. Matters where the recording physically happens. That's it. If someone in Texas calls someone in New York and the person in Texas records, then the laws of Texas apply. If the person in New York records, then the laws of New York apply. Where the other person is irrelevant. My understanding is that Kate Meany is in New York and was in New York at the time of the recordings. If that's the case, New York is a single party consent state and California's two-party consent can fuck right off. It doesn't matter. There's nothing you can do about it. That's how the law works, period.
I'm so glad to see you back. Looking good.
We knew it coming.
Megan phrasing.
Fucking Megan is here. I'm going to go talk to my chat GPT and play with my shake weight.
Wait for it. Wait. Micropene.
Oh my God. So here we go. Back to this. Plaintiff never consented to any such recordings. Again, state and fact specific. Ms. Meany's recording of the calls was illegal under California law. Irrelevant. If she's not in California, it doesn't matter what law they have. Upon information and belief, Egger induced Ms. Meany to commit this act by exploiting a personal situation. Egger had been publicly ridiculing Ms. Meany on his shows, and he promised to cease the harassment if she provided him with recorded conversations with Melendez. Now, the immediate thing people jump to here is like blackmail or extortion. Probably not. Probably not. I'm making fun of you, you dumb woman, or whatever. Like, please stop making fun of me. Hey, give me those recordings. I'll stop making fun of you. That's fine. That's not extortion. That's not blackmail. There's a whole lot that has to go into that. But people jump to that right away a lot of times. Upon information and belief, under this pressure, Ms. Meany covertly recorded multiple phone calls with the plaintiff and then delivered the audio files to Egger and by extension to Heberger. These recordings contain plaintiff's voice and personal statements captured without his knowledge. Completely. They contain his voice and his personal statements. There's my personal statements. I'm going to take his personal statements, like his bank statements or whatever. Defendant Carl Heberger, acting in concert with Egger, knew or should have known that these recordings were obtained unlawfully. It don't matter if they know that they're obtained unlawfully. The question is, did they participate in the unlawful acquisition of said material? If you want a really easy example of this, Glenn Greenwald did not go to prison for the what's his face? Damn it, now I can't think of his name. What was that guy's name? He the intelligence operative who, he fled to Russia after releasing a bunch of information docs. Why can't I think of it? Snowden. Anyway, yeah, Edward Snowden, right? Edward Snowden illegally procures a bunch of government documents. Edward Snowden delivers those documents to Glenn Greenwald and some woman. I don't remember. Just two women, Glenn Greenwald being one of those. They publish the knowingly unlawfully obtained documents. And that's legal. The U.S. government could not do anything about that. Now, if they had found that Glenn Greenwald, say, paid for the parking or an Uber or something of Snowden as he did this, and if Glenn Greenwald had discussed the illegal procurement, and if he provided him maybe like an access card or something like that, now we're talking about participation. That's way different. That's doing an illegal act. Merely receiving, even knowingly illegally recorded and obtained material, and then broadcasting it is protected First Amendment activity and has been for a very long time. And we want that to be a thing, right? We do not want the government able to shut down the sharing of illegally obtained material, because any whistleblower or government leaker or whatever is technically breaking the law, even if they're exposing unlawful U.S. government activity. And it's really important that we be able to bring to light the government's unlawful activity like Snowden did. You don't have to agree with Edward Snowden, but what he did, it changed. It changed American surveillance law. It changed American privacy law. It rescued us from Fourth Amendment crises and from the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court and the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act and the unlawful abuses by the United States government, as confirmed by the United States Supreme Court, the abuses of the United States citizenry by the government through those things. Snowden exposed that. People don't have to like him or whatever, but recognize that what he did was fully in support of your rights. And the government really hated that. But it doesn't matter if they know that it was obtained illegally, so long as they didn't induce or participate in the illegal activity. Let's see. By early summer. Oh, wait. Yeah. Yet both Egger and Herberger chose to use them for their own ends. Yeah. By early summer 2024, defendants Egger and Herberger were in the process of organizing a fan convention and comedy event they titled Dabblecon 2. This event was scheduled for August 16th to 17th, 2024 at the Carlson Comedy Club in Rochester, New York. The event was a sequel to a prior Dabblecon. It was aimed at the community of online listeners who dabble in commentary about various internet personalities, with plaintiff Melendez being a primary subject of interest. In the weeks leading up to Dabblecon 2, defendants embarked on an aggressive promotional campaign that revolved around plaintiff's persona. Defendants repeatedly advertised, using plaintiff's image, likeness, voice, and persona, that Dabblecon 2 would feature exclusive content of Melendez, namely that attendees would hear portions of the secret phone call recordings of Melendez, which defendants had obtained. This is activity that has been done and protected by U.S. law for fucking ever. Like, we got the tapes. We got the tapes, right? Like, you got the tapes. You play the tapes. People get to listen to the tapes. Kind of sucks sometimes when people get to listen to the tapes, but them's the fucking ropes. And so long as there's not, unlawful activity in the broadcast, which is hard to do, again, unless they participated in unlawfully procuring them. But we don't actually know that these have been unlawfully procured. In fact, the facts that they laid out are not sufficient to make that determination, because, again, it doesn't say where Kate Meany was. And where Kate Meany was is what matters in the analysis of whether or not it's a single party or two-party consent state, and whether or not those recordings were unlawfully obtained or merely surreptitiously retained. Just because something's surreptitious doesn't make it unlawful. All right. This was a major selling point for the event. And again, this is not something that Melendez has said that he's, cultivated this persona and all this stuff, but this isn't that at all. Like, this is something else. This is surreptitious and sneaky. Major selling point for the event. Defendants knew that their audience was eager to hear Melendez's candid private conversations, especially given the illicit and sensational manner in which those tapes were procured. It's not sensational. That's the wrong word. It's not sensational. If it was surreptitious and secret, then it wasn't sensational. To generate buzz and revenue before the event, defendants used their YouTube channel, the Shuli Network, and who are these podcasts, host multiple live stream video programs discussing plaintiff and the leaked calls. So, for example, on or about June 19th, 2024, the Shuli Network aired a members-only stream entitled John and Kate Plus Hate. This program's title used plaintiff's name and referenced his voice and persona.
Yo, Nick, did you see me rip Vito a new asshole on EVS's show on Sunday? It was legendary. May have been the end of biggest problem in the universe, and it wasn't even on my own show.
My resume as a replacement co-host for Vito on biggest problem in the universe stands. I respectfully have never retracted my resume for that position. I would love the opportunity to fill it, which is what I say about a lot of things. Johnny Rocket says Carl betrayed Schizo Sean TV. He sided with Gino, posted Sean's driver's license. Stuttering Joe is a hero now. That's a whole other thing that I have only seen enough to kind of do a toe dip into what's going on. But that looks like something that's going to pop over and be hilarious to watch, and everyone involved is going to fucking hate it. You don't have the girth to fill it. Oh, yes, I do. Trust me. All right. So here we go. This program's title used plaintiff's name and referenced his voice and persona in connection with Kate Meany, which is interesting because no, it doesn't. The program's title says John and Kate plus hate. That John Melendez does not own the name John. He doesn't even own the name John Melendez. That's not him. It's not his. He didn't make it up. That's just John and Kate plus hate, which is a play. It's a wordplay on John and Kate plus 8, which is a popular television show about 2 dysfunctional people with 8 dysfunctional children. The thumbnail image displayed to viewers for this video prominently featured plaintiff's photograph, making Melendez's image the face of the show. During the stream, defendants and or their co-hosts played excerpts of the illicit recordings of plaintiff's voice. They analyzed and mocked the content of these calls on air, all while encouraging viewers to donate money via YouTube's super chat function to support the channel. And I will do the same. You should donate money to me because I love you. Is that how that works? Did I do it right? I love you. Similarly, on or about June 22nd, 2024, defendants broadcast an emergency show on the Shuli Network focused on John and Kate, again referring to plaintiff and Miss Meany as a promotional hype stream for DabbleCon 2. In these broadcasts, defendants not only derive direct monetary gain from viewer donations, but they explicitly plug the upcoming DabbleCon 2 event, urging fans to buy tickets or pay-per-view access if they wanted to hear it all. Defendants were using plaintiff's name, image. Why don't I have this pulled up on screen? I apologize. Defendants were using plaintiff's name, image, and promotional graphics and voice via the recordings to advertise their event and drive ticket sales. Again, that's not the exploitation of the right of publicity. Stuttering John drinks sparkling ice and he loves it. Or, making the AI say that, like that. I endorse sparkling ice. That is an exploitation of his right of publicity. Stuttering John is a fat retard. That's not the same thing. Cringe phone calls with Kate Meany by Stuttering John. Nope. You have a right to comment about the activity, character, persona, everything of another person. All right. So here we go. In these broadcasts, defendants not only derive direct monetary gain from viewer donations, but they explicitly plugged the upcoming DabbleCon 2 event, urging fans to buy tickets or pay-per-view access if they wanted to hear it all. Defendants were using plaintiff's name, image, and promotional graphics and voice via the recordings to advertise their event and drive ticket sales. I think I read that a second ago. Upon learning of defendants' activities in June 2024, plaintiff Melendez swiftly attempted to halt the misuse of his persona. Through his attorneys, plaintiff sent formal cease and desist letters to defendants. Formal cease and desist letters? Informal cease and desist? They're just toilet paper. Some cease and desist letters, or like some states, require you to have a cease and desist and retraction demand before you can proceed with certain actions, like a defamation action or something like that. Some of them have that. But the legal effect of a cease and desist letter is nothing. It's absolutely pointless. On or about June 7th, 2024, plaintiff's counsel, Parker Stanberry, LLP, notified Eager and Herberger in writing of their unlawful conduct, accusing them of slander, extortion, and invasion of privacy. But again, they didn't invade the privacy. Kate Meany broke the privacy, like assuming she provided the surreptitiously regarded private conversations. She's the one who broke the privacy. Not them. They didn't invade it. The letter demanded that defendants immediately cease playing or disseminating the recorded calls and refrain from any further harassing commentary or threats. It referenced defendants' own statements, implying that unless plaintiff admitted to certain allegations, defendants would release the tapes. conduct which plaintiff's counsel identified as extortionate. The plaintiff's counsel can identify that as extortionate. Again, the elements of extortion are much more complicated and attenuated than just like, oh, he said this one thing and we didn't like it. It was or should have been clear to defendants that the use of our client's name, image, likeness, video, and persona to sell tickets and generate revenue was unauthorized. Yeah, but they don't need your authorization. Your client doesn't have any ability to prevent them from doing this. A follow-up letter on or about late June 2024 reiterated these demands and clarified that plaintiff would pursue all available legal remedies if defendants did not comply. Okay, so what? Additionally, plaintiff Melendez filed reports to law enforcement authorities concerning the unlawful recordings and use of his conversations. Again, if Kate Meany isn't in California, ain't gonna help you, bro. Plaintiff lodged a complaint with the FBI and with the LAPD in June 2024, identifying Kate Meany, Shuli Egger, and Carl Heberger as parties involved in the illegal taping and exploitation of his calls. These actions by plaintiff put defendants on explicit notice that their conduct was unauthorized, illegal, and highly objectionable. Defendants, however, failed to heed these warnings. Again, they don't have to. Who are you? Who fucking cares what you say? You're dumb. Defendants proceeded to hold DabbleCon 2 event as planned on August 16th and 17th, 2024 in Rochester, New York, over plaintiff's objections. The event was a ticketed gathering of fans held at a commercial venue, the Carlson Comedy Club, where defendants Egger and Heberger, along with associates, performed and presented material to a live audience. The primary draw not being their commentary, but plaintiff's name, likeness, and illegally recorded voice, which is, of course, absurd. Even if they provide no commentary, even if they provide no commentary at all, their procuring of these recordings is a sufficient value to sell a ticket, to sell an event. That is the thing someone's buying. Yeah, sure. It's John Melendez's voice on the recordings, but John Melendez wasn't going to sell those recordings. These guys got a hold of them. They got a hold of the recordings. They're selling that. He doesn't have a right to stop that. Here's the other thing that is a real problem for Melendez here. He's admitting that he didn't make the recordings, that Kate Meany did. That means that Kate Meany owns the recordings. She has the copyright ownership of those recordings. She's the one who committed them to a recordable medium. He didn't do that. Since he didn't do that, he's not the owner. It's his voice on there, but it doesn't matter. If you come onto my channel and I interview you, your voice is on there, but I own the copyright. I have produced the content. I have produced the material. I have recorded it and reduced it to a preservable medium. I have fulfilled the requirements of copyright law. You have not. You merely showed up and were a guest that I appreciate. Stuttering John, again, like over and over, takes an axe and swings it at his own knees. Plaintiff's name, likeness, and recorded voice were exploited at this event to drive attendance and entertainment. That's kind of just a funny thing. Drive and entertainment. In the lead up advertising for DabbleCon 2, defendants had repeatedly invoked Melendez's persona. For example, online flyers and posts for the event included caricatures, cartoons, or photos of Stuttering John, and promotions promised that attendees would get to hear unreleased audio of Melendez. At the event itself, defendants made good on that promise. They played the secret recordings of plaintiff in their entirety for the audience. This was done to engage the crowd at plaintiff's expense and as a climactic highlight of the show, all of which made the defendants money. Upon information and belief, the audience at DabbleCon 2 was eagerly anticipating hearing plaintiff's voice on the tapes. At one point, the crowd chanted, "We want the tapes," until defendants played them. Again, the defendant's ability to procure these tapes is what is of value to the crowd. The fact that it's John Melendez is because the crowd is trying to get information about him or make fun of him or whatever purpose that they have. That's not what John is selling. That's what Carl and Shuli are selling. The spectacle of broadcasting plaintiffs' private conversations was a headline feature of DabbleCon 2, far overshadowing any original content defendants provided. Okay, like, again, attendees effectively paid for the unauthorized Stuttering John content. What they're trying to do here is obvious, but it's feeble. The attempt is to state that that Stuttering John had the right to sell this material. He had the right to sell what he said, and they didn't have the right, but they did that, and that's what they sold. It wasn't their commentary, it wasn't the production, it wasn't the opportunity to meet these people that you're fans of the show or whatever. It's none of that stuff. It's just Stuttering John's stupid voice on the phone. That's an obviously ludicrous thing. It's a very limp argument, but that's the only argument that they have. Defendants capitalized on plaintiffs' fame to sell out the venue and enhance their own standing in the community of listeners. Right. And I'm sure just anyone else would have also sold out the venue automatically. Right. Like nothing that Carl or Shuli did has anything to do with like selling it out or being popular. Notably, plaintiff himself was not present, nor even aware of precisely what would occur. Yeah, we know. Yet his identity effectively headlined the event without his consent. No, his identity did not. Some content on the phone call did. Now, again, they can call it the John Melendez tapes or whatever, but maybe people are interested in Kate Meany on the tapes. Maybe they're interested in what she said. Did they poll everybody? What information have you, or what examination of the facts have you done to determine that it was specifically John's stuff? None is the answer. In a further egregious twist, defendants incorporated actual personal property of plaintiff into DabbleCon 2's attractions. Now, this is where the lawyer, like, he goes into turbo fuck up mode here. Like, he just goes straight and he's like, you know what? I'm not doing great, and I'm about to do a whole lot worse. Here we fucking go, guys. Upon information and belief, individuals acting at defendants' direction or defendants themselves trespassed upon or otherwise intruded into plaintiff's residential premises in Los Angeles to obtain discarded items belonging to plaintiff. Now, that sentence sounds really bad, but did they trespass onto the property? Did they even enter the property itself? It says intruded into the residential premises, which suggests that they went inside. But these were items that were discarded on the curb, so this isn't true. But the way it's written sounds really bad, but that's not what happened. Specifically, they retrieved several sofa cushions from plaintiff's trash after plaintiff had disposed of an old couch. If you disposed of the old couch, it's not fucking yours. It's not yours anymore. It's done. You disposed of it. It's gone. You don't have a property interest in the remaining property. It's over, fam. The cushions, recognizable to those familiar with plaintiff's home studio from online broadcasts, were then transported to Rochester and presented at DabbleCon 2 event as a comedic exhibit. That's funny. That's really funny. If someone trespassed on the property to obtain it, like if the couch is up, like in the curtilage of the house or whatever, like on a deck or something, and they entered onto that part of the property in an unauthorized manner, you maybe have something here, but you don't unless it was Carl or Shuli, or they actually induced that behavior intentionally, like they participated in or like asked for that to happen. Again, someone obtaining something unlawfully doesn't mean that you automatically can't receive it. There is receipt of stolen property laws and stuff like that, but similarly have a First Amendment right, and this became First Amendment. But this isn't stolen property, and I really want to point that out. I don't recommend going and going through people's garbage, right? Like, I don't. But when the garbage is out on the curb, the garbage can is out on the curb awaiting pickup, if you go into that garbage can and you grab something out of there and you walk away, it'll be a very hard sell to say that you stole anything from anybody because it's in a garbage can. And again, the garbage company isn't particularly interested in what's in the garbage can. They just know that their job is to take away the garbage at the request of the person getting rid of it. You're specifically removing your ownership of property. So therefore, you don't have an interest in what someone else does with it at that point. You just don't. Here we go. What do we got?
Damn it! Just saw this 2 hours late. Hi, Nick.
Hey, what's up, Tamara? How you doing? Nice to see you. Here we go. This is some random guy says, "What caused the new accent?" I'm weirded out. I don't know. I just you talk to different people and in different circumstances over time, things change a little bit. So that's probably it. Along with, traumas and triumphs or whatever. I don't notice it. It's just how I talk now. I'm also not drinking or on cocaine. So that kind of changes things too, right? One thing for people to remember is that from day one of this show, I was drinking a significant amounts of whiskey and whatever sobriety is. I definitely wasn't that from the very beginning of the show. Even if I might have been sober on a particular show, right? I would have been significantly influenced by alcohol consumption. That was something I did multiple times a week. I haven't done that in a long time now. So, there's change that happens there too. People aren't outside of the shows that I've done in the aftermath of all this. People aren't familiar with me being sober. You didn't see it. Not that I was always intoxicated. Again, I'm talking about the general concept of sobriety. But whatever it is, that has an effect on you. And when it's not there, things are different. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just how I talk now. But some people seem to have an issue with it. Other people are like, I don't know what you're talking about or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a good explanation for it. I hope it doesn't bother you too much. If it does, I'll email you soothing voice recordings. Just hit me up and I'll send you stuff. Okay. Specifically, they retrieve the several sofa cushions. The cushions recognizable to those familiar. We read that. Defendants put the used cushions on display for attendees to photograph and joke about, essentially treating plaintiff's discarded trash as a trophy. And this is such a fucking suicidal legal statement. God damn it. Discarded trash is not yours. Discarded trash is not yours at all. It's discarded. It is trash. It's gone. That's what you're getting. The whole point is you're getting rid of it. The stunt was clearly intended to ridicule plaintiff and to further entice fans by offering a bizarrely intimate connection to him, literally pieces of his home. It's not pieces of your home, bro. You got rid of it. What? You just want to grab this fatso and strangle him. What are you talking about? You threw out the couch. It's not yours. It's not in your home. It's not yours. It's not part of the Melendez collection or whatever. It's not going up on display at the Met. This is done. It's garbage. Literally, it's garbage. You don't want it. Put it up on the side of the road. If a hobo went and picked it up and shoved it in his tent under an overpass, you wouldn't fucking care. Only care because they found a way to make fun of you that you didn't see coming. It's brilliant. So here we go. Defendants. Where are we? Plaintiff never authorized anyone to take his discarded property for any purpose. This statement is a lie. All right, hear me out. I put the couch on the curb to be taken away by the garbage company. Well, and what you've done is authorized someone to take your discarded property for the purpose of removing it from your possession and disposing of it. So you did authorize someone to take your discarded property for any purpose. The act of placing the couch in the place that garbage goes to be removed, you've authorized the garbage company to come by and go, oh yeah, we got it. In fact, you will pay them probably specifically to pick up a couch. Maybe not. It depends if it's municipal garbage or if it's private. But, there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into that. But you do authorize someone to take your discarded property. But this is a suicidal statement on the issue. Because when you say it's discarded property, you do not retain a right in it. Property rights is a bundle of sticks. And each one of those sticks is something. Possession. Exclusion, which is the right to exclude someone from access. Alienation, which is the right to it's similar to exclusion, is to restrict someone from having access to this. The right of the right of sale. So you've got the right of possession, the right of sale, and then you have what's the other one? Use. You have possession, you have use, you have alienation, you have the other one, whatever I said earlier. Property rights are this bundle of sticks, right? Like in we know what those are. But each one of those rights is some level of ownership. And having all of those rights is owning something completely or whatever, as to the extent that you can. When you get rid of those, when you say divorce yourself of possession, use, exclusion, alienability, sale, like when you get rid of those things, you no longer can be said to possess the property. Like it's not yours. If you don't have the right to do those things, if you discard property, you discard those rights, period. Abandoned property is not yours. What do you need, Julia? Sorry, I'm not reading chat as much as I normally do because I'm reading the document. All right, anyway. So yeah, again, suicidal statement to this issue. Once you say it's discarded property, you've discarded it. You've discarded your right to it. It's gone. By exploiting these items in a commercial setting, defendants flagrantly violated plaintiffs' privacy and property rights. Nope. Underscoring the lengths to which they would go to profit from plaintiff's persona. No, you threw it away. It's gone. Here's the question. Again, trespass is a different issue, right? Like if they went onto the property without authorization, I'm going to assume, because this is what I've been told, that the couch was sitting on the curb. Okay, Julia, thank you. I'll grab that in just a second. I've been told that the couch was sitting on the curb. If that's the case, and there's no unlawful entrance onto the property, then again, it's discarded. Someone can take it. The question is, if they had waited, followed the dump truck to the landfill, and then grabbed the couch cushions, would it have changed the calculus here? No. The couch, once it reaches that curb, is placed in an abandoned or discarded state. Now, John Melendez can walk to his curb and grab the couch and go, I want to keep it. And he has an equal right to grab that anyone else does. He can reclaim the property, but it's not a reclaim, really. It's a new claim. And someone else could have come up and claimed it first. If they did, he would have to go down and he would have to negotiate with them over their new couch. Like that's how that would work. If he followed the dump truck or they followed the dump truck to the landfill, grabbed the cushions, you have the exact same issue. It's not unlawful. John doesn't have property rights in it. He gave them away. These people acquired it. Now, the landfill, like if they're illegally entering the landfill or whatever, those issues can still happen, right? Maybe the landfill doesn't want you to reacquire property that's been deposited there. I don't know, but that's a different issue as to the general concept of ownership. Here we go.
Your Honor, we need Kurt to throw away his Instapot. Then once it is shipped to Nick, it can be displayed as a trophy and memorial to all of the bad food that has been prepared in it.
I wouldn't touch that thing. I wouldn't touch that thing with the gloved hands of a police officer. Thank you. No, thank you. That Instapot is cursed and diseased and disgusting. No. We've got a request for let's see, a toast here for Ben Ramler. Let's see. His stepdad suddenly passed. All right. Ben Ramler has requested a toast to his stepdad, 71 years old, suddenly passed 8 months after his mom passed. The loss of two parents is, of course, it's jarring. It's probably more common than any of us want to consider. You know, the loss of a partner is the loss of a part of you. Losing that part of you can be fatal for some people. It can take away a whole lot. But I don't want to talk about that, right? I want to toast the man who stepped into the life of Ben to become his father, stepfather or not, to step into that role, to take on this son, and to bring peace and life, joy, hopefully, to his mother. Though their passing is unfortunate, they're rejoined in eternity. There you go, man. Sorry to hear about it. It sucks. Labyrinth Mystic says, we'll catch up with you after Tookie. Appreciate a proper legal breakdown. Rooting for you and the onion against the toe. Now, I, of course, am prevented legally from talking about that, but I appreciate it very much. All right. Guys, I'm going to end really soon here. We'll resume this probably tonight, or maybe might talk about some other stuff tonight and resume this tomorrow, something like that. I'll figure it out and I'll try and make the announcement. We're not going to get through this whole document tonight. I rambled way too much, and I apologize for that. But I want to spend some time with the missus before before I either come back for a show or whatever. I have barely seen her at all today, so I want to make sure and get some time to hang out with her. So we are going to wrap this up pretty soon, in a couple minutes here, but we'll get through this, a couple more lines, but I want to thank you all for joining me so far. And, the idea is to do another show at 11. I don't know if we'll get there. I'm not sure. Like I said, I haven't seen my wife or kids all day. And so I would like to hang out with them before everybody goes to bed. Okay, here we go. We're back here. By exploiting these items in a commercial setting, defendants flagrantly violated plaintiff's privacy and property rights, underscoring the lengths to which they would go to profit from plaintiff's persona. Now, it's your couch. It's not your persona, you dummy. After DabbleCon 2 concluded, defendants continued to breach plaintiff's rights under New York state law. Defendants did not relent in using Melendez's name and likeness to generate content and income. This is why he brought this in New York, by the way. this is why. It's this right of publicity. It's written down in a statute in New York because there's a lot of advertising that happened in New York at a very high level, right? Lots of celebrities being in New York as well. The idea of a likeness of a persona being something that is tangible, cultivated, and valuable resides heavily in these bastions of entertainment and advertising and marketing, right? You got Los Angeles, you've got New York, you've got places like Austin, Dallas, you've got like Quebec in Canada. You have places where all these things, are more concentrated, and so the law kind of develops around that culture. New York is pretty specific. New York is the economic armpit of America. Like it's where all the stinky work is done, and stinky work is defined most primarily as advertising. And so there is this. New York has an interest in protecting the right of people who've cultivated some sort of image and persona, protecting their ability to utilize that to their advantage, and protecting them from having other people take that advantage from them. This makes sense, but this is why it's brought in New York. That otherwise barely makes sense to be brought there. John could have, I believe Carl has done shows in Los Angeles, and stuff like, I think I was at one. These guys have availed themselves of more places than just New York, and it could have been brought into those other places, like or in any of the places where the businesses are, housed, et cetera, et cetera. Like all of that could be done, but it's not being done. It's being done here. It's being done for the right of publicity, and most importantly, it's being used fucking incorrectly. And the lawyer who wrote this should be embarrassed. Because I'm a YouTube lawyer, motherfucker. That means I'm pointless in the world. I have no purpose. And I know this law. I don't practice in New York. I never will. Like, I have no reason to. I know this law to make fun of a bald, fat Armenian. That's why. That's it. And that's more important than what you've done here. What you've done here is just massacred the right of publicity. You've used it wrong, and you're going to go into a court and get laughed at. And you should be laughed at, just like you were in elementary school. Except I knew it was your parents laughing at you because nobody loved you. You suck. Also, John Melendez is fat. With that, we're gonna wrap up the show for now. Like I said, I will try and announce very soon if I'm going live. I will not be covering this lawsuit tonight if I go live. I'm gonna try and keep this during the daytime, like tomorrow or something. I just have to look at my schedule, and I'll try and figure out when to do that. Hopefully around the same time or something like that. That said, if I'm going live tonight, I'll put up the link as soon as I can. We got to get back to cooking with Kurt. There's so much more, guys. There's so much more. Kurt, he talks to the AI, like he speaks to it and lets it speak back, and he argues with it about Star Trek. That's amazing. This is amazing. I can't believe anybody watches Kurt's legal analysis. Oh my God, put a bullet in me. Watching him argue with Grok about Star Trek Deep Space Nine or Star Trek Voyager. God, I could do that. I could watch that all day. It's always great. Like, it's so funny. It's so good. He bought this watch that you have to assemble, like the little gears and shit with tweezers. And he fails. He fails to assemble it. It's all on video, and he has to order the parts of them come for a second run at it. This all exists. Like, we have so much to watch. I've missed so much time, and I plan on coming back to it. So I will let you know. Thanks for joining me, for this show. There's another super tip here. Some random guy says, by the way, despite all this stuff that has happened, I don't hate you. I want you to bounce back. Been with you for a while. Not moral phaging. No, I didn't. don't recognize you as like having any reason to say that. Like I didn't think you wanted me to fail or anything. So yeah, thanks for sending that in. I appreciate it. All right, guys. We'll be talking very soon. We'll finish up this lawsuit thing in the next day or two here, and then we'll be back on schedule again. Thank you for entertaining my necessary break from from doing the show for a little bit as I dealt with some personal stuff. I appreciate that, and welcome back. See you very soon. Peace.
Oh, he drinks a fair bit, but you realize that it just helps get his noggin jogging along. With his glass by his side and his kids asleep tight, we'll hear some law-splaining tonight. With his microphone muted, we'll laugh at this boomer until he explains it's all part of the plan. Watch his face become redder as he becomes madder, raging at idiots from Twitterland. From the white shores of Maine to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, his lady is fair, and she handles herself with the grace of one who has borne many children. As the wife of a lawman, she makes sure that he has the time and the place to provide for them there. So pour out an Ardbeg, a bow, more of that frog. The spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, the guests are all plentiful, from Doug T to Drexel. They bring their perspective and spice to the mix. But the reason we're here and the one that we cheer is the one who is showcasing us his career. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains